Alright, I just want to kind of give a quick prediction for the direction that I think the WWE is taking with the storyline with CM Punk and John Cena and now Triple H. All it happens to be is just a part of the storyline that they always do every year about Vince McMahon getting taken off TV. Except this time they're doing it really, really well. Rumors of Mick Foley are coming back. That's who I was actually expecting to show up at SummerSlam. Kevin Nash dropped that hint on Twitter. And everyone's like, oh, you didn't see it coming, you didn't see it coming, oh. But no, Kevin Nash dropped that hint on Twitter. If you guys follow WWE's Twitter, they tend to give you a good idea of what they're doing and whatnot. Most of the wrestlers tend to be honest on there. TNA, take lessons, don't fuck up and drop things too soon. That Goldberg and Crimson thing, that was horrible. There's no reason for him to call him out just like that. All Kevin Nash said was, hey man, if you ever need a bodyguard, I got you. And that's kind of chill rather than being like, oh, Goldberg too. And that's retarded. That's why I watch WWE. But they brought back Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash had a show that weekend from what they reported online. And supposedly they said that he had a neck injury and he dropped out of the show, and then Diamond Dallas Page took over instead. So, of course, no one expected Kevin Nash. If you had read the report, I didn't know about it. And watching the pay-per-view, I didn't expect him to come out of the crowd. But he came back. Shawn Michaels has a UK tour that was supposed to be taking place within the few recent months. Shawn Michaels has had to cancel his plans as well. Like, he's had to cancel his tour, and they didn't really say why. Possibly hinting at Shawn Michaels coming back, because I wouldn't want to see the Click if it wasn't the full thing. Shawn doesn't necessarily have to wrestle, but if he does it, that would be a reason for The Undertaker to come back and side with someone else in this kind of feud. Because picture if Shawn Michaels, was retired by The Undertaker and The Undertaker to come back. I'd love to see a Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker 3. It'd be going against the whole thing about him retiring, but it would be perfect if they did everything right that they're doing for the next few months. Take notice, they're pushing Mark Henry right now. I expect Mark Henry to come into a big part within the next few months. That's also bringing back a star. He's an old star from the Attitude Era with the Nation of Domination. And The Rock's coming back. He's making an appearance at Survivor Series. I hope it's not my telecast or something. But with The Rock coming back, The Rock and Mark Henry have a history. Kevin Nash, Triple H, they have a history. Foley's about to be back. He and The Rock have a history. He and Triple H have a history. What could happen with that? Edge stopped by at SummerSlam and said, hey, we have a history. I don't want a part of this, though. And he told him that he was ashamed of what he became. Now, what if all the wrestlers that can wrestle, because Edge, is injured, he can't be a part of this, or that would be an interesting thing to see Edge and Christian teaming together, especially if they were siding with Triple H. That would bring Christian even more up on the heel ladder, because everybody's going to want to see everything, because I think that John Cena would side with John Cena would side with the wrestlers, like, hey, we're the current roster right now, and The Rock is, of course, going to be with Triple H, and that's just like in a long run. That's like, all right, we'll start off these feuds where, hey, I'm The Rock, I'm back, John Cena, screw you, I have Triple H, I'm going to make some funny remarks about you, and you have a long nose, just like CM Punk's been doing. And The Rock will just do his promos on him, but eventually in the long run, these guys are going to work together, guys that used to feud, because they have to take over with the current WWE roster. The Miz, John Morrison, R-Truth, Alberto Del Rio, and then with the Ring of Honor guys that are coming up with the Kings of Wrestling. And I really, really hope that Colt Cabana got a contract from his dark matches that he was working for his trial matches with WWE. I really, really hope that he got that. That would just add so much more to the storyline. As we saw tonight on Raw, CM Punk didn't care about losing the title. He was the unified champion. He knew he's going after better things. Back in the Attitude Era, when the Austin and Rock would feud, the title wasn't the most important thing. It was to The Rock. The Rock cared about that belt. When Austin threw it off the bridge, The Rock was stunned. Austin didn't give a fuck about the belt. Pardon me. Now it's rated R. I said one F word. So picture this. You have these guys that are coming in, and it can be slowly building up, so you don't know who's going to side with who, and then eventually it's going to be, in the long run, the old Attitude Era guys versus the new school. And picture WrestleMania, some of the matches that we could have. Mark Henry taking on Sheamus. We saw that at SummerSlam and it ended with a countout. I'd like to see the feud end here and Henry go for the belt. I want to see Henry go for the belt, or even Henry go against Undertaker, depending if Henry sides with the superstars or if he sides with the Attitude Era. It all really depends on which side they put these guys on, just like Raw and SmackDown. And once they start blending this to where the guys from SmackDown are working with the guys from Raw and vice versa, they're going to blend it back into one show. And then it's just going to be divided like the Attitude Era people and, you know, our current roster. I'm a tad, so sorry if I'm rambling. But I know you guys see the direction that I'm going, so leave comments, let me know what you think. Who would you like to see as current mashups and whatnot? You know, picture Austin and CM Punk, they could have their match. Or what if Austin and Punk don't face each other and Austin and Punk end up taking sides together? Austin's never liked McMahon and CM Punk's basically against McMahon. Why wouldn't that work out? You know, certain guys from the past can come back and help out certain guys from the now, and then that's what we have for WrestleMania 28. Rather the showcase of, you know, John Cena versus The Rock, the past versus the present, we have a literal pay-per-view of past versus present. You know, I would love to see DDP get in shape and go in a match against Dolph Ziggler at WrestleMania. Wouldn't you pay to see that? Yeah, you would. Or how about Zack Ryder and Buff Stuff Bagwell coming out? Nah, that would be a horrible. That would something that would happen during the Alliance pay-per-view. Another thing that I want to add, with Mick Foley coming back, he can be the anonymous GM, and a lot of people have been talking about it on the internet, like, oh, anonymous GM, anonymous GM. I've been talking about it a lot longer than most people have been posting about it. I've been saying stuff about it the whole time, that it would be awesome if it was Foley. And I kind of thought WWE was going to drop the ball on the anonymous general manager thing, and oh, it's The Rock, like when he comes back or something like that. But they still have the post set up, and it's just leading up perfectly, because WWE is just coming up with all these things, and it's just like one thing after another. You know, CM Punk won. CM Punk left. We had a tournament. Tournament couldn't finish, and it had to go on to the next week. Tournament finishes. Bray wins the belt. John Cena wins the belt. CM Punk's back. Then we go, and CM Punk cuts even more promos. He's back. He's signed. Triple H is back. Jim Ross is back. Perfect. And then we go to the SummerSlam pay-per-view, and we have CM Punk going over Cena. Not clean. Just like back in the day. The Attitude Era didn't do a lot of clean finishes. There was always something big always had to happen at the, you know, with the big feuds and whatnot to keep them continuing. Not like in the sense that, oh, we're gonna make this stale by being the same people over and over. They kept it fresh, and they're doing that now with CM Punk and John Cena. This Kevin Nash thing is perfect, and Alberto Del Rio cashing in the briefcase, as predictable as it was. That's perfect. Now it's CM Punk's still in the main event picture. John Cena's still in the main event picture. Alberto Del Rio's still in the main event picture. Rey Mysterio hopefully gets a break from TV now so he can rest for the Mexico tour that they're about to do, which should be huge with, you know, Henrico and Sin Cara and what was his name before him, Mystico, how they're going to push them down in Mexico as big stars too, from what we've been hearing on the internet and whatnot. Although I don't want to see that. Yeah, I know you're going to another country and you want to appeal to them and whatnot, but just revamp your product. People used to watch back in the day, and so far they're doing a real good job of it, and I really hope that this is Triple H's actual working in the process and not Vince McMahon and his hired writers and whatnot, because if this is a sign of what Triple H is going to do 10 years down the road, we can have a nice edgy product again. Wrestling can be brought back during the Monday Night Wars. It lasted a long time. You know, WCW coexisted with WWF for a long time. And so now it's not even a matter of competition. WWE can just stay fresh. They've been on top for the past 10 years. And TNA's nowhere close to them, and we know that. And they're nowhere close to reaching them, and that's not because WWE is going stale or because TNA isn't doing good enough. It's because that's how well established they are. But what we want to see is something fresh. As fans, we always get on the message boards, and we get on NoDQ and WrestleZone and PW Insider, and we're reading all the stuff, and we're talking to everyone, and we're on Twitter, and we're on YouTube leaving comments, and we're doing all that stuff. And Zack Ryder, he's the champion of the internet. But we're on there doing all this stuff, and we're saying what we want and whatnot, and it's finally to the point where I think that they're going to be able to cater to us. Not in the sense that, oh, let me read this comment, they like it. They realize that their fans are smart. We want the product, and what we want also would sell. It used to back in the day, and if they gave us what we want now, it's going to sell. And SummerSlam was a perfect example of that. It had a no disqualification match that got pretty wild, but still was in the PG rating. Then they had that main event finish. Kevin Nash comes out of the crowd, shocking, takes him out. The adults know who it is. The kids are confused. John Cena lost, but the kids are like, oh, John Cena's foot's on the rope. Who cares? Triple H counted it. It was enough thing to grab everyone's attention who watches wrestling for a different reason. Everyone likes different things about it, and right now it's just perfect. They have a mold of everything working together, and WWE, for the sake of everything, please keep this together. Bring back the Nation. Bring back the Clique. Bring Ring of Honor up. Shit, purchase them. Bring them up. Blend your shows into one show. Then blend your shows back into Monday Night Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. And please move to another night. Fuck TNA, go back to Thursdays. I love Thursdays. Used to watch it on Channel 7, tape it every night. I grew up on that shit, and SmackDown was awesome until John Cena came. John Cena can wrestle. John Cena cannot act. Switch it around. You gave us a wrestling match at Money in the Bank, and you gave us a wrestling match at SummerSlam. Now give us a wrestling company.